welcome once again to Kray Z Comics and Stories. It's me, your charming and delightful old Uncle Rat Bastard. And at the other end of the series of tubes and wires that we call the internets is Joe, Kray Z Writer. How you doing today, Joe?
You know, admit it. The Pope was flashing gang signals when he was in that photo from his pulpit, right? Right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It had to happen.
I don't see pictures of the Pope. I don't. He's not in my news feed unless he's yelling about how Trump is a horrible person.
Well, maybe he should be in your news feed because he yells about how pretty much most of them, capitalism is really horrible.
Oh, he shouldn't say that. I watched Godfather 3. I know that the mob was able to assassinate a pope.
Yeah, they are. And they do love their cannolis.
So, one thing I want to say, we said, I think 3 days ago when 2 days ago when we recorded, we're not going to talk about the coronavirus. We're not going to talk about the lockdown.
Are confused. That was actually a fill-in one because we sooner or later we're going to get the dreaded deadline doomed smashed over our collective heads. But we talk about other things when we get together and set these things up, and that's we decided. You know what? Just take it easy, take it light. You guys come here for an hour or two of just light comic book banter to feel good about it.
But there's a news story that broke today that by the time this is put up, everybody will have already read. Steve Geppi announces Diamond is ceasing distribution of new weekly product. DC is not able to get any of their books printed. And this week's books for March 25th will be the last new comics for the foreseeable future. I'm going to read the entire press release.
And I'm going to sing It's the End of the World as We Know It in the background. Oh, wait
Coronavirus.
We don't have copyright, so I guess I'll just sit here quietly and, yeah.
Okay. As everyone knows, the world faces ever-increasing challenges related to the COVID-19 pandemic. Its effect on comics and collectibles and tabletop gaming industries have been felt far and wide. We're hearing from thousands of retailers that they can no longer service their customers as they have in the past, and many of them forced to close by government action or resort to in-person or curbside delivery. Even those still open are seeing reduced foot traffic, and in some cases, a situation that most likely will worsen over time. Our publishing partners are also faced with numerous issues in their supply chain, working with creators, printers, and increasing uncertainty when it comes to publication and delivery of products for us to distribute. Our freight networks are feeling the strain and are already experiencing delays, while our distribution centers in New York, California, and Pennsylvania were all closed late last week. Our own home office in Maryland instituted a work-from-home policy, and experts say that we can expect further closures. Therefore, my only logical conclusion is to cease the distribution of new weekly product until there is greater clarity on the progress made towards stemming the spread of this disease. Effects on Diamond comic distributors. Product distributed by Diamond and slated for an on-sale date of April 1st or later will not be shipped to retailers until further notice. For the time being, however, we have been able to develop procedures with our teams at the distribution center in Olive Branch, MS, to safely continue fulfillment of direct ship reorders for the retailers who are able to receive new product and need it to service their customers. It is unlikely that orders will be filled on the same day they are placed, and these plans are subject to change if at any point we no longer feel we can safeguard our teams while fulfilling orders. Product distributed by Diamond UK and slated for on-sale dates of March 25th or later will not be shipped to retailers until further notice. Further updates with regard to reorders and other Diamond UK specific information will be communicated directly to their customers as information becomes available. Effects on Alliance game distributors. Product distributed by Alliance has been shipping from our Fort Wayne, Indiana and Austin, Texas warehouses. Both are closing at the end of the day on Tuesday, March 23rd in the interest of employee safety and to comply with direction from local governments. Any orders not shipped by that time will not be processed until further notice. Your dedicated sales team will still be working remotely and will help you with any orders you'd like to place today or questions you may have. Our shared path forward. With these changes in our distribution strategy, we will work with our publishing partners to develop programs that will address product already in the pipeline and what will happen when we resume distribution. We know that during this time, you will face many challenges. Direct our energies toward addressing them rather than fighting on increasingly numerous fronts to get product out. For those retailers who remain open in various forms, I encourage you to let loose your own creativity. For the time being, you will be able to replenish your perennials from Diamond and or Alliance, but you should also remember that the stock you already have in your stores. If your doors remain open, it's likely you will have customers who will continue to seek diversion from the events of the world. Special sales, promotions, and even eBay can help you bring in cash during this trying time. Product for which you've already paid may well hold some of your answers. There have been many solid suggestions about how to help our retailers, and we will bring many of them together in future communications. Besides the industry's most immediate needs, we have been and will continue to be looking forward to the future, when we see stores reopening, bringing staff back on board, and getting customers in the door. We're looking at issues like debt accrued during this crisis, what reduced ordering means for your discount tiers, and the availability of credit to help stores through and after this difficult time. We don't have all those answers today, but we understand the many issues you are facing and look forward to addressing them as partners who all have an interest in the long-term health of the industry we love so much. As I mentioned in my last update, this industry has been one of the greatest joys of my life. From my days as a collector to a retailer to today, I and my leadership team have made these decisions knowing full well the effect they will have on all of you, as well as our publishing partners and our own team members around the world. At the end of the day, the safety and security of our teams and yours, along with the many customers we all serve, is paramount. I again thank you for your ongoing patience and support. Thank you. Steve Geppe, Chairman and CEO, Geppe Family Enterprises. Joe, your first reaction.
It's the end of the world as we know it. It would kill me in my Kray Z Comics form. The lack of Marvel Comics for a month killed me, thanks to the Civil War delays. If you're a small comic shop, you're gone. If you're a big comic shop, and I'm thinking of like The Source, although they don't have people gaming anymore in the back, they had planned to stay open. Gamers will keep coming in. If you were smart enough to build a diversified graphic novel, I don't know what you call it. Display, inventory, that's a better word. That might be able to help you. Again, everything he says, oh, have a sale. Well, no, you can't have a sale because that draws people and you can't draw people in. One of the things that I've been noticing with all the comic shops that are trying to hang on is a lot of them have been, okay, we'll come out to your car and we'll give you stuff. We will ship things for you. Heck, Oakleaf down in Iowa, I forget what city he's in, he'll even deliver it to your doorstep. But no product. I mean, it would pretty much, I think it's the death knell of comic shops myself. Most comic shops are so under financed that they exist week to week for that weekly run of people that come into the store. There may be always exceptions, and I think you're going to see probably the strongest will survive. But if I had a shop now, if I had Kray Z Comics, I would just close doors. Game over. Tell them, you guys just killed me. It's done. There's no way I could have stayed open in that. With Hot Comics, and again, this when I did Hot Comics, the beginning of eBay was just starting. To me, a lot of what Geppy said strikes me as telling McDonald workers at the time that they should just take ketchup packets and go sell them on the corner. Yeah, no, those are it. Again, I can't fault him. He's a business as well. He probably looked on the pipeline and said, I don't have enough to keep my doors open. But he is it. He is the sole provider of comic books for pretty much everybody. And I would be very, very surprised if you didn't see a class action lawsuit jump up and slap him back, because as not necessarily fairly, but he is it. And we've talked ad nauseum about the 90s, about how everything went to exclusives, and eventually Geppy won. And he worked his ass off hard to make sure the comic industry kept going by taking over Heroes World accounts and by merging with Cap City. I have nothing good to say about Diamond in the times I had my comic shops.
Hold on. You mean you have nothing bad to say about them?
Thank you. Because my mind is still swimming. I'm trying to figure out how the hell would I keep a comic shop open?
Let me give you the rest of the news, Joe.
Hang on a second.
Oh, there's more.
I got one rat bastard root beer I'm tempted to open here. Okay, hang on. I got it in my hand. Just right here. Okay, keep talking. I'll let you know if I'm opening it.
All right. These states are the ones where it's shelter in place. California, Connecticut, Illinois, New Jersey, Nevada, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. That's 905 comic shops. That's 34.6% of the comic shops in the U.S. And an estimated 50% of comic shops will be closed as of March 25th, as more states go to shelter in place.
Or they do like Wisconsin did. All non-essential businesses closed.
Yes.
And that, believe me, comic shop is non-essential.
DC Comics printer shuts down on 3/24. They will not print anything. Not comics, not books, not magazines, nothing. DC will not be able to get books printed. Marvel announced huge discounts on their backstock and said that no one's tiers would change for the discounts going forward. But that was over the weekend. Who knows what will happen now? Let's see, what other publishers here? Ahoy Comics had said that they will not be publishing anything new until the crisis has passed. Boom Studios announced full returnability of all comics through June of 2020. The Asterisk graphic novels that we talked about, they were delayed for 2 months. Alterna has said that they will not publish comics until this passes. This is big for the comic industry. I don't want to get into the whole world because we could rant about that forever. But the comics industry, what could Diamond possibly do? Because these stores will still have to pay rent. You know, even if they don't have to pay anything else, they still have to pay rent. Let's say you're the big shop. What would you do to just keep I don't even want to say keep the lights on, but keep from being evicted?
It depends on your landlord. I was lucky in a sense where the landlords I had were not landlords by trade. They had other things going on, and they were more landlords like the first one, the first one I had, he was more of a lawyer, and then he sold to the guy who ran a fabric store. And at the time in the 90s, this was big. I mean, he had the hugest footprint in the shopping mall. And since then, I think he's disappeared. I think the whole idea of people buying fabric and making clothes and whatever has kind of disappeared because I haven't seen him anywhere. But he, again, I could call him up and I could say, hey, things are tight. I can have my rent now, half my rent later. Whereas most landlords were pretty much, if you weren't there, they were calling you and bugging you. In the other store, again, I was working, I had really low rent. I mean, it was maybe $500, but he was a construction guy. And I'm pretty sure the only reason he owned the building was because he could own the building. And, I think he did rent just cheap enough to keep the building taken care of. That said, he was a good guy to deal with. If I needed to be late or split the rent, he didn't care as long as it showed up eventually. But for a person who has a professional landlord, unless the state steps in and says, hey, because they've got to do something. I can't envision a sane landlord wouldn't do something to help you out, because how many restaurants right now are closed or getting limited income? And what's the landlord going to do? Just say, yeah, sorry, you're screwed. You got to get out of here. If I don't get paid, you're evicted.
What
and
about
how many times?
Let's talk even bigger. The Mall of America is shut down. All the malls in the Twin Cities are shut down. I imagine there's not a mall in the U.S. that's open.
Yeah.
Are those malls going to charge rent when the mall is closed?
I don't know. I think that a lot of times with the Mall of America, you probably have a clause in there on what to do if it's closed. Because again, remember, Mall of America always shows up on the top 10 United States terrorist target. Not to dissuade you from going, but that's just the way it works. I would assume they would have something like that. I don't know how most businesses would operate if their insurance would step in. I know when I had both shops, I had the option of getting an income interruption waiver on my insurance. It cost a lot, but basically you would give them your books and say, well, this is the money I would have coming in now that things have happened and I'm not open. They would step in and continue to give you whatever wage or money, or hopefully enough to pay your employees.
That was the other thing that I was thinking about, because Vince McMahon took forever to cancel WrestleMania and change it to where now it's going to be done in studios. And the reason, now this is just the rumor, because he'll never release this information until he has to because it's a public company, he'll have to release it as a stockholder call. But everyone said it was because he was waiting. If the city canceled it, he'd get an insurance payout. If he canceled it, he might not. There are clauses in insurances that say, hey, act of God. Would this fall under that? That's something we're not going to know. If you own a business, there would have to be something in your insurance that basically, hey, if the state shuts us down or the federal government shuts us down, you're going to protect us from, not being able to open again. And I imagine a lot of comic shops who were just, going by the seat of their pants and didn't have insurance, they're the ones who are going to be screwed because they were just kind of making it day by day by day. When Christy bought Hot Comics, I guarantee she didn't have any insurance. We're in a weird world. Comic creators have been doing online where they do sketches and stuff. I know that at DC, everybody was working from home. I don't know about Marvel. Where I work, at the office job, they've sent us home, and they're actually begging us to do more overtime because we deal with benefits. And I got to tell you, it's been nuts. Lots of phone calls. What's covered? What's not covered? Where can I, people will call us and go, oh my gosh, where can I get these tests? All we can do is send them to the carrier because we're where you enroll in benefits. We're not, and we can explain your benefits, but we're not the ones who say, oh, here's your doctor, here's this. That's all handled by big companies like Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare, etc. They've sent everyone who can work from home. I noticed today we have half as many people answering the phones. I didn't ask, but I would imagine that the temp agencies have said, don't go into work, because if someone gets sick and they work through a temp agency, that temp agency is liable. So the other thing is, I work at the group home. They are planning for shelter-in-place notices. Basically, they're also telling us, when you come in, have a change of clothes, have your medication. You might get stuck here for a few days if there's a shelter-in-place and we're not able to get clearance for staff to come into work, because that they would have to go, if there's a shelter-in-place, they may have to go to the state to get a special waiver. But if I were a comic shop, wow, man.
I wonder if comic shops are going to keep pushing digital comics.
You mean publishers? Because the shops don't push it.
Well, they used to get a piece of it, but that was an old plan. But it'd be kind of interesting to see what they would do. I mean, can you publish something and ruin the spoiler? Would a shop want something that's already been published online?
And if the printing press is stopped, will DC continue to put out new comics every week via their digital? Marvel hasn't announced anything other than a couple of days ago when they said they were going to offer huge discounts for their back stock. Now, you as a comic fan,
order it now, otherwise you ain't going to get it.
You and I as comic fans, first thing I'm going to tell a comic fan is, there are tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of books out there that you have not read yet. Call your comic shop. See if you can pick stuff up, or like one of the delivery places here in Chaska. You pay online, you drive up, you text them that you're there, you open your trunk, they bring it out, they put it in the trunk, close the trunk, and you drive off. I've heard comic shops are doing that too. Call your local shop if they're open. See how you can buy stuff. Buy some of those old trade paperbacks and stuff that we have been talking about. And I think next week Joe and I should do a list of 10 trade paperbacks you can pick up during this time. But today I just want to talk reactions.
Go look through go look through all our podcasts. We're always talking about things we recommend. And it's easy to look at because Cory always gives a little synopsis. So if you're looking for either a fill-in episode where we talk about the top 10 Spider-Man villains and where they appear, or maybe, I know we've done a top 10 graphic novel. Last year we did, these are the comics we normally buy. There's tons of stuff available. I would definitely, though, get a call to your comic shop and try to get in those last books.
Yep.
And I don't know if our preview episode that dropped last week will be relevant.
Will drop today.
Yeah, as we record this. So, and that's something too that I'm wondering about. Now that they're not shipping, will Discount Comic Book Service still tap my credit card and have me prepay for books that I may never ever get?
I think you'll get them. It's just they're going to be delayed. And
but if they're going to delay it for months, why am I paying for it now?
Yeah.
Especially when we talk, we've been talking omnibuses. Those things are delayed anyways.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. A lot of the big, expensive books like omnibuses, they're printed overseas and brought in. What's going to happen with that? If Diamond's shutting down, there are other other ways that places like Amazon gets those. Will they be available on Amazon, or will they just sit in DC's warehouse until the gears start moving again? By the time this episode drops, we'll have a lot of these answers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll be a week behind, still in a bind, but we'll be willing to make a deal. Matter of fact, that's something I would talk about is, and I kind of mentioned it, you got stuff waiting at your local comic store. Now's the time to pick it up.
Pick it up now.
Or if
Shop
you are
desperately needs it.
If you are unable to because you lost your job, call them. And nobody wants to give bad messages. Call them at 3 in the frickin' morning. Nothing drove me crazier when I would finally get a hold of someone. Oh, I lost my job 2 weeks ago. I can't pick up my pull. It's like, well, yeah, I understand your comic pull is probably the last thing on your mind, but you could have called me even at 3 in the morning and left a message. I don't blame you. Nobody wants to receive bad news. Matter of fact, I was just thinking earlier today as I was putzing away on my eBay stuff, maybe I need to go get some more bags and boards. Probably a good time to do it because those will disappear and we won't be getting them anymore. And I know a lot of places are closed, but I'm sure if I called someone and said, hey, I want to swing by and pick this up, they'd probably say okay. I know the last I read, the source was actually open. They got a huge store, so social distancing should not be a problem. And again, if I just come in and get what I want and get out, it should be fine. They're not doing their gaming. Everybody else that I've heard of is doing one of two things. Like I said, just call and say, here's what I need. And maybe that might be the route to go. But yeah, we'll definitely revisit this next week. Not only whatever the current updates are, but also, we'll talk about some of the stuff. This might be a good time to try it. It will be interesting, though, to see how this does affect eBay. I was going to report when we get to our eBay bit that, my eBay sales have taken a little dip. It definitely a calming in the waters. There doesn't seem to be a lot of people buying. I mean, I had a good run going there all the way up until about a couple of weeks ago. Fortunately, one of my last sales was my Transformer collection from the 80s into the 90s, and that went for a pretty good penny. But right now, things are just slow. I am finding, oddly enough, big runs selling, and I'll talk a little bit about that when we get to the eBays. If you are sitting at home and you do want to start your eBays, how many episodes ago was it when I did my eBay shtick?
I actually have our podcast site up right now.
Oof,
so let me
and
take
it's
a
free.
look.
So again,
yeah, that's the other thing. We have 450 past episodes for you to look at. The episode from March 1st, Kray Z Comics and Stories 448, eBaying Your Comics 101.
Yep. That pretty much gives you almost everything. Matter of fact, I'll talk a little bit more when we get to my eBay thing. But seriously, as a listener to this podcast, if you got a question about eBay, feel free to give me a call. Either, well, maybe not a call because I don't answer my phones, but, send me a PM through Facebook. Let me know you're a listener, though, because a lot of times if I get people I don't recognize, I may not answer it. Send me a question through the eBay market. Matter of fact, I'm going to talk a bit about pricing when we get to the eBay segment. So, but hey, I'm willing to help you guys out. And of course, Cory and I always look at our email. So if you can't wait till next week, give us a quick call and email. And we do got a voicemail, don't we?
Yes, we do. I have all that information in with our advertising right here. Believe it or not, kids, this here podcast has sponsors. And that sponsor since day one is DreamHost.com. DreamHost.com is the best, bar none, web host in the whole known universe. And if you need a website, head on over to DreamHost.com, put in code Kray Z, that's KRAYZ, and get $20 off your first year. Now, if you would like to advertise here on any of the Solitaire Rose Network podcasts, you can. Just email me at solitairerosenetwork@gmail.com, subject advertising. Also, head on over to eBay and look for user Kray Z, K-R-A-Y-Z. That's Joe Crazy Writer, who's always telling us about the eBay in every episode of Kray Z Comics and Stories. If you would like to contact us, you can do so. You can give us a call at 952-856-0519. Leave a message and we'll play it on the show. Or you can send us an email at solitaireroseNetwork@gmail.com. Thanks.
You can get a hold of us any way you want. And as far as I know, those MCBA SpringCon guys are still holding true. They're keeping an eye on the situation very closely, but as of now, they're still scheduled for May 16th and 17th. I will tell you, if I'm a betting man, and I'm telling you this with the how do you say it?
With peace and love, peace and love.
Not quite. I was just going to say I have no insider knowledge, so I'm just speaking from my own opinion. I do believe they will have to cancel it because I don't see this getting better, not by what the experts are saying or anything. And there's no way they're going to run a spring con where they get over 5,000 people shoved into that grandstand. Heck, there's people rumbling about maybe the state fair in August might be canceled. So, but I again, when we get to freaking and geeking, I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But are you telling? No, wait a minute, Cory. You saw how many podcasts have we have?
451.
And that's just you and me doing it.
Yep, that's just Kray Z Comics and Stories. There are all these other podcasts, too. The Solitaire Rose Radio Network has all sorts of podcasts for you. There's, of course, Kray Z Comics and Stories, where myself and Kray Z Joe Writer get together once a week to talk comics. We review comics, we talk about upcoming comics, we talk about comics history. Anything that has to do with comics, we're going to talk about. We also have Series in Review, where we review series and kind of give a DVD commentary of past comics that we've enjoyed. There is also Solitaire Rose Radio. Solitaire Rose Radio is my solo show where I discuss upcoming comics, past comics, comics history, and interview comics creators. These are all at crazycomics.solitairerose.com. There's also the podcast I'm proudest of. That's Novelcast, where I take the novels that I have written and turn them into audiobooks. That's at novels.solitairerose.com. Over at Bad Advice, myself, Dan Moore, and Wolfie B. Bad take your questions and give you bad advice. It's at badadvice.solitairerose.com. Now, don't think that I'm doing all the podcasts, because there's also Scrabbling Across the West by Dave Coffell and Stephanie Coffell. Dave is a musician and Stephanie is his wife. They travel the country performing music and playing Scrabble over at scrabbling.solitairerose.com. And finally, the newest member of the Solitaire Rose Radio group, that's Fantastic Forecast, where myself and host of For the Love of Comics, Adam Vermillion, go over the series The Fantastic Four, 4 issues at a time. That's available at fantasticforecast.solitairerose.com. If you would like to advertise on any of these podcasts, you can. Just email me at solitairerosenetwork@gmail.com. Thanks.
You see, I finally gave you a segue you could use.
Yeah, one of the
Only
things that
451 episodes.
I was going to actually talk about things that you can do to spend the time if you're, quarantined and unable to leave the house. And I'll probably talk a little about that too. But this is a good time as ever for us to open up the mailbag.
Hey, we do love mailbag. Trust me, it's lonely here in podcast land. Any feedback you want to give us, whether it's on our Facebook page, direct to Cory, or on our voicemail, we'll listen to it all.
Now, Dan Geister sent us just an Asa Strode here, just wondering if comic book stores will be forced to close. Most of them can even last if they are closed for months. What about comic books being released in general? Will that happen on schedule no matter what the situation, or is there a danger that there will be a hopefully temporary stopping point of publishing comics for a while? I'm now going to go back and listen to every 50th episode of the podcast. Diamond answered your question for us. As for whether comic shops will survive, I'm going to say this. No matter what, we're coming out of this a different world. I don't know what the Congress is going to do. I don't know what the president's going to do. I don't know what the states are going to do. I don't know what insurance companies are going to do. If we go by the laissez-faire capitalism that we have had in this country for the last 50 or so years, small businesses are dead. And the problem with that is small businesses are the majority of employers. So
we're talking like 60, 70% people. Yeah, big corporations are nice and fun because they get benefits and security, and although really they don't do a lot of that either. But yeah, big, and what is it? 70% of our economy is consumer driven.
yes.
Those numbers don't add up, folks. And I'm not even good with math.
And another thing about it is we're going into, we're in uncharted territory. Movie theaters are closed. Movie theaters never close. During the Depression, during World War II, even on 9/11, movie theaters stayed open. I remember 9/11, stores closed for a couple of days, but they opened up within a couple of days. I remember TV networks after 9/11 were just all news, and they actually worried about if one of them were to quit broadcasting news, would they all get it? Would that basically, they were scared that if they quit broadcasting news, places like Fox News and the government would yell at them and possibly yank their license for not, for being the first to resume regular programming. So they actually came to an agreement and they all started their regular programming at the same time. I don't know what's going to happen with this because without getting super political, we don't have good leadership. What we're hearing from the government changes day to day, mood to mood. We're not getting good directives. States are taking the lead, and the problem with states taking the lead is it's rather patchwork because each state deals with what it's doing on its own. For example, New York had a shelter in place. What about all the people from New York who were down in Florida where it was, everybody could go anywhere. Beaches are open, stores are open, life's good. We don't know what's going to happen, but we will come out of this very changed. I don't know what the change will be. I don't know what the publishing landscape will be. I do know that one of the things that's going to come out of this is that we have learned that people can work from home after being told for years and years and years that I'm told, well, you can only work from home if it's an emergency. Well, no, I can work from home all the time. And there are tons of businesses that are kind of, it's been let out of the bag that their employees can work from home. And while it might be a little bit of a struggle, it's working. Things become the new normal rather rapidly. Streaming was already taking over. It's monstrous now, to the point now where in Europe they're actually asking YouTube and Netflix to tone down the basically the quality of the feed so that they're not sending stuff in 8K and 4K because their infrastructure can't handle all the traffic on the internet. Here in the US, we haven't heard anything about that. Our internet can handle a lot more than we thought. People are going to learn, after all the hoarding and everything is done, especially when jobs start going away, that they can do with less. They're going to learn that maybe carrying tons and tons of debt because your next check's going to be showing up. Businesses are also going to learn that they need to have a cash cushion rather than spending all their money buying their stock back. You're going to see huge things like this. Marvel, DC, Boom, these comic publishers, they're going to change their business. And I don't know if that means that they will just say, fine, we're just going to go digital. Because if the distribution comic shop network goes down, they still got to make product. Or will they? Will they just become media companies? We don't know what's going to happen. Question number 2 is another one from Dan. You will probably discuss it on your next podcast, but if not, Speculator Corner, when Spider-Man fought the Corona Fever. There was an issue of Spectacular Spider-Man, number 176 and 178, that had a new villain, Corona. And prices on it are going up because it's the coronavirus.
What were those numbers?
176 and 177. Written by Kurt Joe's
all
going
right.
to eBay now.
There's a couple for $2.99.
How much are most of them going for?
What are the two numbers again? 74 and 174 and.
Let me go back.
Oh wait, they're 176. Well, okay, hang on. Let me back out the auctions. Pay attention, folks. There's going to be a test on
176 and 177.
176. Lowest one right now is $15.99.
Okay.
And after that, they go up, 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 up.
Which is silly because Corona is basically based on the Corona is the when there's an eclipse, the fire you see around the moon, that's the sun's corona. And the coronavirus is called that because it's basically, it looks like that. And it's a family of viruses. So I think this is silly speculation. Marvel hasn't used the character since. It was a one-shot character.
Yeah. But he might be worth coming back.
Well, maybe.
Maybe.
And the last piece of mail we got is from Ahoy Comics.
Ahoy, hoy.
Although this is kind of, well, we got it Friday. It's already outdated. No, wait. We got it today.
Oh,
and it's already
sweet.
outdated.
Uh-oh.
Ahoy Comics announced that they would delay publication of 2 of their upcoming titles in light of the global pandemic affecting businesses worldwide. The debut issue of Ash and Thorn, a story about a septuagenarian who becomes the reluctant savior of the world, will be delayed from 4/1 until 4/29. In addition, the release of Billionaire's Island, number 2, the second issue in the darkly satirical series about billionaires escaping to a floating island, will be delayed from 4/8 to 4/15. This is the first time in Ahoy's history a title has been delayed, said Editor-in-Chief Tom Payer. And obviously we're disappointed that our readers will have to wait a little longer to see old ladies kicking apocalyptic ass and billionaires getting their much-deserved comeuppance. But these are unusual times. We're facing some rocky seas as a community right now, but we'll get through this storm together. To be clear, Ahoy is not suspending operations, said freelance op director Stuart Moore. We're delaying the release of Ash and Thorn in order to give this unique new title a chance to find its audience, and we're moving Billionaire Island number 2 in order to space out our new releases better. We recognize that some retailers want new product while others are asking for a slowdown in shipments. That's the needle we'll be threading in the weeks to come. Ahoy Comics also announced that effective immediately and for a limited time, all the company's trade paperback collections, with the exception of Second Coming, will be made available on Comixology for $9.99. Ahoy recently joined the Comixology Unlimited, where for just $5.99 a month with a 60-day free trial. By the way, that used to be a 2-week free trial. It's now a 60-day free trial for Comixology Unlimited if you want to try that. Subscribers can read favorite titles like Wrong Earth, Captain Ginger, High Heaven, Snifter of Terror, Planet of the Nerds, Bronze Age Boogie, and #Danger. Quarantine reading has never looked better, said Payer, adding, oh God, it's only been a week and I've forgotten how to talk to people. So that's the mailbag. Joe, anything to add to my answers?
Nope, not really.
Okay. I think that's a lot. That's a lot to digest. So this is going to be a different episode. So Joe, I know that you are home, but
I'll explain why.
am not. So
you are a saint above saints.
No, I'm not. I'm just stupid enough to take that job. What have you been spending your time at home with, and why aren't you back at work, you slacker?
Well, oddly enough, this was one of my geeking, so we'll just kind of go into it. But TSA was remarkably, I don't want to, what's the opposite of short-sighted?
Farsighted.
I think quite the word I'm looking for. Proactive, that would be the word, in dealing with this particular virus. Because first of all, everybody and their uncle already know we are pretty much, we're not on the front line like health workers or first responders, but some dumbass motherfucker is going to come walking through the airport with the coronavirus. There's been over 50 of us that have been affected by it. One guy or gal, I don't exactly know whom, got it from just patting that person down. Again, did they do it on purpose? Did they not know it and just came through anyways? Airports are a ghost town right now. My daughter got a job out there, and she's effectively been laid off. I mean, for a while, all the restaurants, bars in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota, what the hell, have been closed. But they kept the ones at the airport open because they realized when you have a captured group like this, where are they going to eat? And what do? Give them their food and kick them out into the concourse so they can all get together there? So they were open for the last couple of weeks, but they did decide they just can't do it. There's not enough people traveling. The place is a ghost town. There's pictures that our FSDs posted of looking down the concourse when it used to be wall-to-wall people, and now there's nobody flying. Airlines are cutting back. TSA did two things. First of all, they said anybody who self-identifies himself as high risk is allowed to go home for 2 weeks under a certain type of administrative leave. They call it weather and safety. This would be the same thing that they would do for people if like a hurricane was coming, or if you got hit by a natural disaster. If you remember episodes back when I used to be on the National Deployment Force, they would deploy these people to these airports. Easy when a hurricane's coming. Not easy, but it's coming. Less easier when it's a quick disaster that wipes something out. And I, fortunately, while I was on the road for 5 years, that never happened. But the team's in place to do that so that the locals can go home and take care of things. Meantime, and believe me, it was a tough decision because I'm trying to decide, I've had a lot of freaking time off with my hip. And the hip was due to my rheumatoid arthritis. And the arthritis hasn't gone away even though I got 2 new hips. I mean, I'm diabetic. I've got rheumatoid arthritis. And if you remember the NWO, it's a for life situation. And ultimately, if I did get sick, and I was sick 4 weeks ago, I caught the regular flu. Didn't realize it at the time, but I caught it. That's why I'm coughing still. If I did get the coronavirus, it could be endgame. So I just took myself out. And I wasn't told I had to. I just self-identified and did it. The second thing TSA did, they divided all the teams in 2. Checkpoints have 2 teams. Baggage have 2 teams. 1 week, 1 team works. The second team's off. Second week, the second team's on. First team's off. If, God forbid, the first team goes down, you still have the second team ready to go. Not that it's tremendously busy, but that is something that I applaud them for. I criticize because isn't that an American pastime, criticizing your work? And I know I get some people, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. And I said, well, first of all, I really, really doubt any of the higher ups at TSA are listening to this Little Here podcast. And if you are, give us a call. We'd love to talk comic books with you.
I've been asking Obama to get a hold of us forever.
Oh, I know. What did he do? He went out and got his own podcast. So.
And he sat down at Mark Maron's garage.
Oh.
You don't have to come to see us. You just get on the Skype. We want to talk to you about your love of Spider-Man and Conan in the 70s.
See if you'll autograph my first printing of you on the cover. That would be so epic. Well, you should have seen my wife's face when she actually went to an event that Obama was hosting, because she was, her boss at the time was a Democrat. And I said, oh, please bring this with. Well, I'm not going to get to see Obama. And I said, yeah, but the mayor will. Maybe he'll autograph it. I'll give him a copy too. I want this one, first print, and let him have this one, fifth print. And I'll bring a fourth print in case Obama's never seen it. So I'm not stupid. I may be crazy, but anyways, it never happened. She did actually get to see Obama. It was one of those handshake deals. Bam, bam, bam. I imagine now it would be a fist pump, or maybe just, what's that, the foot thing? Bump. Yeah. No, they don't even do that anymore.
I would just do the Vulcan salute.
So, I might do the Stone Cold. Oh, hell yeah. So anyways, that's what I've been doing. Well, actually, I didn't say what I've been doing. I've been eBaying. Not every day. I mean, it does get tiring after a while. But for the most part, I've actually got 3 weeks off, because I've got not only the 2 weeks that I self-identified, but when the week I was scheduled to go back, that's the week my team is off. So will I keep going? Will they keep offering it? I don't know, man. It's just scary stuff. My daughter in her apartment had somebody who got coronavirus, and now I'm scared for her. But be that as it may, I will tell you, this is kind of part 5 out of all the stuff we've been talking about on doing the eBay's things. This one's on pricing. So, Cory, if you would give me my opening, I'll cut into my eBay stuff.
Well, Joe, what's going on the eBays? Even though you've been talking about it a lot.
Well, sorry, it was kind of a roundabout thing, but you've probably got something in your collection. If things go bad, you can sell. I always look at it this way: unless you've got something that is almost irreplaceable. Case in point, I've got a Shazam #1 from the 70s signed by C.C. Beck. That's irreplaceable, folks. Anything signed by Stan Lee is quite possibly irreplaceable. I say that because he's signed thousands of things. But again, I'm looking on my shelf, and I got that my Secret Wars 2 omnibus. Well, I read it. I did what I want. It's not something I'll probably reread, so that might be something I might want to sell. The first thing you want to do is figure out the price. And I've talked about pricing before, but basically you got to decide, are you going to price it what it's worth, or are you going to price it to move? And I price things to move, because a lot of times I look at things and kind of like I did when I was looking up the aforementioned Peter Parker Spider-Man. Matter of fact, let's just go along with it. Okay, it was Spectacular Spider-Man 176. I've got my copy here. And no, I don't. I believe I got rid of it during the Purge a couple of years ago. Silly mortal. So you can put into eBay Spectacular Spider-Man 176, hit search. And after that, now you can filter it. There's 2 filters I use exclusively. The first one's over on the left of the listings. You get a bunch of options: best match, time ending soonest, time newly listed. I go with price plus shipping lowest first, because that way I can see what is the lowest price out there at the moment. And like I said before, there's a number of auctions, but if I want to get to what the lowest buy it now price is, that's the second thing. Yeah, there's a bar. All listing accepts offers, auctions, buy it now. So if I go to buy it now, the new listing, which might be gone by the time you look at it, someone's got it for $15.99. He's got both Spider-Man 176 and Marvel Feature #2. Wait, am I looking at that right? Yeah. Well, the Marvel Feature 2 is in bad shape, but the Spider-Man's not bad. The next one priced is $30. I'm sorry, 19 bucks. A new one just popped up. See how fast this is going? So all these people have been looking online and they see, oh, this guy's a little cheaper than me. The next question you have to ask is, are you going to give yourself free shipping or not? I recommend free shipping because when I do the price list, I go for lowest price shipping. Lowest price plus shipping. So for me, that's $15.99, and this guy's offering free shipping. Now, if I was hell-bent on selling my Spectacular Spider-Man 176, I would put it up with Spectacular Spider-Man 176, $14.99 free shipping. I don't do a lot of auctions. I do a lot of buy it nows. And if you go back to the eBay episode, I talked about how you want to sell it, auctions versus buy it now. And I think a lot of people, while they might play around with auctions, and there are a number of auctions up for this particular Spider-Man book, if you're looking to get money right away, buy it now is the best, because there's people like me who are just going to go, you know what? I just want it. I ain't going to fight it. Boom. And who knows? I may buy this one for $15.99. I haven't decided. The other thing you got to decide is what you're selling a high value book. What was the Cory, the Edge of the Spider-Verse that had the first Spider-Gwen?
Number 2.
Number 2. Okay, let's do a quick search on that. I've already got the buy it now. Now this one will be interesting because there's 177 of them, and a lot of them are. There's second print for $16. There's a fifth print for $9. Holy cow, some of these printings went pretty crazy. So in my search, let's put first and see what we come up with. See, that doesn't work because people spam. Because when you put Edge of Spider-Verse, you can put first Spider-Gwen. And so now it didn't really help. So let's... it takes a while because now what I got to do is I got 177 to go through and just kind of slowly work my way up. Oh, that's the Mexican edition. So if you want a Mexican edition, you can get them for $50. And folks, I do this with every single one of my books. All right, I'm over $100. Bingo, first appearance right there, $175 free shipping. Okay, now you got to decide. What is a guide for? I like to use Atomic Avenue because it's pretty straightforward and you can look up stuff. So let's take a look. Edge of Spider-Verse. Dun, 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 dun. They say a first printing $70. No, see, they're way out. That's why I suggest eBay at first, because you're going to sell it at $70. It's going to sell fast. You could sell it for $169 if you had to go low. What's it worth? Well, they go upwards from there. New comics get tricky because they go up and down. If you have a first appearance of Supergirl, which is Cory?
Adventure Comics 257? No, Action Comics 257.
Yep. So let's do that, action. But here you legitimately got to grade your book, because even a 0.5 sells for $500, and I thought they were high. But that goes for it. And trust me, if you've got books like that in mint shape, don't even bother with the eBays. Get a hold of yourself of an auction house. So again, you got to decide what you're going to do. Do you want to price it for what it's worth? You could put it about, make an offer on it, and go back and check occasionally. I do a lot of times on the eBays. I'll take a look because prices go up, prices go down. I can't think there was that comic book that had the first Stan Lee story. This is the first time they ever put it to comic book, and it was just sitting there.
Marvel's 70th anniversary.
Yeah, nobody cared about it. I had a signed one, not by Stan Lee, but just sitting there. All of a sudden, it sold, and the reason it sold, Stan Lee passed away, and the book went insane.
And it was Stan's last comic book story.
His first actual story, just the first time it had ever been put into comic book form. So it was really cool. Again, watch condition. Just because someone's got a key book for $100, it may only be very good. If yours has been shaped, keep looking for one that's been shaped. The other thing to think about is eBay is going to take a percentage of it. And with their pay system, it could be as high as 30%. So keep that in mind. Yeah, I sell a lot of things probably below what I paid for them, but I also sell a lot of things way above what I paid for them. And you also have to decide if your time is valuable enough to do this. I mean, we talked about it. I have an innate joy in doing eBay. I just love doing it. But if it's a chore and you don't want to do it, I don't know, get a hold of me. I'll do it for you. I used to do that when I had the shop. I'd sell things on consignment. But again, eBay gets 30%. I'll get a piece of the action too. So you got to decide if it's worth it. In closing, I'll give you one final hint. Okay, let's do that again. Spectacular Spider-Man 176. Okay, I search it. Over on the far right, there's something called advanced search. Hit on that quickly. And what you can do is not only could you exclude words from your search, like when I was looking up Edge of Spider-Verse, I could take out all fifth prints, take all of whatever. On the bottom there, you have one called sold listings. Search that quickly. And then you can, again, switch it for price shipping. This is telling, because this will tell you for what it's sold. As February 4th, this book was selling. One guy just sold it for a penny. One guy just sold it for $1.35. Let's flip it around. Highest. There's a guy sold a whole run for $75. Another guy, he had it at $74, but took a best offer. The actual solid price I can see for the highest, somebody sold their copy for $48. So get to your collection, kiddies. Check it out. If you got any questions on the eBays, or hell, you want to see some of the stuff I've been putting on, because I spent most of the day readjusting prices and stuff, check it out. KRAYZ. I'm always willing to talk to fans of the show, and if you do buy something and you are a fan, I'll give you a little secret gift here. Probably not a key to the Strode compound since Cory's home, and you don't want to see Cory in his underpants. But KRAYZ, come get some.
And rather than jump into freaking and geeking, because we're only at let's see here. Let's see what Skype says. How long have we been recording?
It's been a crazy breaking news day.
Yeah, it has. Okay, we've been recording for a little over an hour. So, with comic shops in dire straits, Joe, recommend 2 graphic novels just off the top of your head that people could pick up at their local comic shop that they could have fun with.
Well, I've got a couple that I really love. You could go get the first 2 volumes of Thor by Jason Aaron, the complete collection. I never read these. I mean, I read them off and on. I read the Thor, and I came back and that, but I never read the whole thing. So for me, this is a lot of fun to just be able to sit and read this, for the most part, for the first time. It's in print, so you should be able to get it. I mean, I know I bitched that none of the shops locally had it, so I eventually went to in-stock trades. But if they can get it, your friendly neighborhood comic shop should be able to get it and be able to order a special order for you. And believe me, if they survive the crisis, it'll be because of you people, because of what you do by ordering stuff. And as far as a second one, oh man, I just couldn't even say. I would recommend. I'm overwhelmed. All right, let's just pick this. JSA by Jeff Johns. An absolutely blast of a run. He went through this run, a couple different titles, but again, if you start with the series he did, I think there's 3 graphic novels out available now, and you can start from the beginning and just follow along as it goes. And I don't think it's finished yet. So hopefully whenever books ship again, we'll be able to go into year 4. Geez, Marvel DC, always do Marvel DC. Okay, here, look up this one. This one should be available, I think, through IDW, and it's 3. Love and Capes, another book that I highly, highly recommend. This is available online as well, and I don't know, you may be able to go right to the creator and get it direct, or order it right through your friendly neighborhood graphic novel. But this essentially is the Lois Lane Superman relationship done in a very refreshing way. It's just a lot of fun, a lot of jokes. You'll see, I don't even remember what they call the superhero group, the JLA of their universe, but you've got Darkwing and Amazonia, and just it's a blast of a strip. If you don't believe me, go to Thomas Zahler's website, and I'm not even sure where it is here, but go to idwpublishing.com. Either one of those, get a taste for it, because they do put it online. And if you do like it, just pick up the graphic novel, because a couple of weeks ago, I just finished reading them. It's a blast. How about you, Mr. Strode? What would be 2 or 3 that you'd recommend?
I'm going to recommend a couple of the Epic collections. These are big, thick, 450 to 500 page books that collect a big old chunk of comics. The first one is Avengers. It's listed as number 16, and it's called Under Siege. This reprints a big old chunk of the John Buscema, Roger Stern Avengers run of the 80s. And this is the Attack by the Masters of Evil, where they defeat the Avengers and take over Avengers Mansion. There are stories before and after it, but that's kind of the core of the book. It's just Roger Stern is one of these guys who, he was Kurt Busiek before Kurt Busiek was around. He's a guy who knew and loved the Marvel Universe, knew its lore, but didn't bog everything down with, you have to have read 42 different books from the 60s to know what's going on. Buscema didn't like superheroes, but he was inked by Tom Palmer. So a lot of what he did were just breakdowns, and Palmer finished the art. And Palmer's a fantastic artist. Tom Palmer's one of the greatest inkers at Marvel. And if he's using Buscema's layouts, his stuff is just fantastic. This is a hell of a fun read. And then the second one is one that came out a little while back, and basically it's the basis for the most delayed movie in Marvel movie history, The New Mutants. New Mutants Epic Collection number 2, The Demon Bear Saga. It reprints New Mutants 13 through 31 in the first annual. So it's got some of Claremont and McLeod's and Bob McLeod's last issues. I think Sal Buscema did some issues there too, so that you get a good feel for the characters and who they are. And then with issue 18, Bill Sienkiewicz comes on and turns everything on its ear. This is when Bill Sienkiewicz came from Moon Knight, and he had become the Bill Sienkiewicz that we know, who uses this wild impressionistic art that just blew everybody out of the water. No one had seen this art style on a mainstream comic book. Still to this day, when you read issue 18, it blows you away, because no one has followed in his footsteps and been able to do the kind of stuff Bill Sienkiewicz did. It's also Claremont before he had gotten captured by his storyline tropes and cliches. So it's just a fantastic, fantastic book. I recommend both of those. They're both over 400 pages. In fact, the Demon Bear Saga is 512 pages. So I would pick those up. You're going to love both of them. They're a lot of good reading, and it puts money in the pocket of your local comic shop to help them pay their rent. And now we get to my favorite part of the show. No, Not where I down a whole bunch of Altoids and wait till my mouth explodes. No, it's freaking and geeking. Joe, what you freaking on?
Yeah, I think we pretty much covered it. How about you? What are you freaking on?
This is incredibly selfish of me. I know that going into it, but they're putting all sorts of free stuff online for people who are stuck at home. The WWE just opened up the WWE Network and put a bunch of stuff available free because people are stuck at home, including every WrestleMania, including the last few months of Raw. The Metropolitan Opera has put operas up for free. Amazon is allowing all their kid shows to be free. You don't have to have Amazon Prime to watch their kid shows. Tons and tons of ebooks. Neil Gaiman put out a bunch of stuff for free. Because of the two jobs I have, I'm working more than ever. When I got home from the group home Sunday night, I was completely frazzled. Matter of fact, both of my jobs are twisting my arm to work more overtime. I got an email from the office job today where they basically, they send out, we need people to do overtime for this client. We need people to do overtime for this client. I got an email today. We need people to do overtime for all clients. And it was sent to the entire company in the U.S. I have to ask, because if all the temps were sent home, no wonder we're getting buried. And medical benefits don't stop. And the group home, guess what? Group home don't stop neither. When I go to my group home shift, before I can go in, I have to have my temperature taken. And if my temperature is 100 degrees or more, I am sent home and I cannot work. We haven't had anybody who's been sent home and can't work, but I know it's coming. And when they say, be prepared to shelter in place, usually I have my gym bag in the car, and I have, stuff in, I have my go bag in the car, and I have a blanket and pillow. But now I'm going to make sure, okay, if I get stuck there for 2 or 3 days, I need to make sure I have everything I need, including my medication, including chargers for my phone, laptop, my electronics. The clients in the group home have been stuck in the house for a week, other than going out and walking the paths around the neighborhood. They don't have visitors. They're not going out with family. They're not going out on outings. Sunday, 2 of the clients, you could tell they have been cooped up in the house for too long because they were nightmarish to deal with. Every time we wanted to give one of the clients their medication, she turned it into a hostage situation. I won't take my meds until I get this. Then we do it. Now I want this. And at the third one, I would go, all right, you got 3 things. If you don't take your meds at this point, I'm just going to call the nurse. And you know what the nurse has said. If you don't take your medication, we have to take you to the hospital because you've got this medical problem. And the virus is out in basically, she's got a very compromised health, immune system, and every one of the things that make you more vulnerable to it. So if she's not taking her medication, we have to take her to the hospital, and she will be there for months. So she's using that to get all the stuff she wants. The office job, again, is really extra busy, and I'm not getting the time that I hear about people who, I've watched everything, I've cleaned everything, I'm just bored. I am the opposite of that. They were twisting my arm to try and work till 8 o'clock tonight, and I said 6 o'clock. I've learned 6 o'clock is the latest I can work and keep my sanity. So, and then no new comics. Yeah, that's a pretty big freaking. Joe, What are you geeking on?
Well, Dynamic Forces shipped one of my 3 orders that's been on back order. This one's since December 2nd. So I did get some new comic. Yeah, and this was during their Black Friday sale. So I'm assuming that they had it in stock. Because usually if you order and it's out of stock, they just will, okay, this was out of stock, no biggie. But, I've yet to actually hear back from them, and I've sent multiple emails and left messages on their line. So maybe when they get around to it and discover nothing else is shipping, maybe they'll ship the other 2 pieces that have been sent. And these are like $100 orders, so they're not just, chump change. As far as watching things, I did go on a binge. I watched a couple Star Treks. I watched, remember back, I was kvetching a while back that for some reason, 2 of the Star Treks you had to pay for, either on Amazon or Netflix. They weren't available for free. Well, I've since succumbed to get CBS Access. I've been able to watch 2 of them. Star Trek Voyage Home, that's the one with whales, and Star Trek Generations, which was kind of fun just looking at those. I remember seeing those in the theater. And then since I had Disney, I decided, you know what, let's watch Doctor Strange, which I haven't watched in a while. And, of course, Doctor Strange led to Thor Ragnarok, which led to Avengers Infinity War. At that time, it was 4 a.m, and I went to bed because although I could watch Infinity War, I believe I watched Doctor Strange and Thor on Disney Plus. I had to go to Netflix for Infinity War, but then the next day when I woke up around noon, it was the same day, I should say, I watched Endgame. So, and to this day, I still am amazed Marvel pulled it off. They do have a couple interesting behind the scenes stuff. Assembling the Universe was one of them, where they talk about getting everything together up through Age of Ultron. And so it's kind of neat watching as they go back and they show, Iron Man, Hulk, Iron Man 2, Captain America, First Avengers, that type of stuff. Interesting enough, they show a lot of Hulk, but no Ed Norton. I wonder why. But and then the second one was more of a teaser, expanding the universe, where they talk about the upcoming shows. Loki, Falcon and Winter Soldier. There's a couple other ones. These are the Disney Plus shows that should be airing later this month. So that was kind of fun just to go revisit these. And I may actually go back and watch Iron Man again just because I haven't seen it in ages. Do you know what the most amazing thing, though, is about that? And this is a spoiler for those of you who haven't seen Endgame. Stupid mortals. Yeah, you don't deserve a spoiler. What was the last thing Tony Stark said before he died in Endgame?
I don't remember.
It's actually probably something you do remember. And I am Iron Man.
Oh.
He didn't say anything after propping himself up against the wreckage when everybody came in disbelief. He sort of mumbled when Pepper got into his eyesight. And again, maybe you could say, yeah, he remembered High Pepper, but he was mumbling. It was done at Robert Downey Jr.'s insistence. He didn't want to say anything. He just wanted to leave it at I am Iron Man. And I believe, if I recall it, that was his idea too, to say this is the last thing I will say. Very interesting trivia. And like I say, he does kind of mumble when he sees Pepper Potts. But just an amazing thing. That's one of those things that I caught when I was reading this. Here are 25 things you didn't know about the Avengers. Hey, they actually had one. As far as reading comics, let's see, what did I go through here? Doctor Strange #3, still loving what Mark Waid's doing. Action Comics, big fight between, it's still ongoing. Young Justice shows up, and I believe they're fighting Leviathan and Luthor, and to be continued. Caught up on Spider-Man, the latest being 39 and 40, which was a lot of fun. For some reason, I got the Gwen Stacy variant covers, although I don't recall ordering them. I usually just go with whatever's cheaper, when I'm ordering. So I figured, what the hell, let's pull out Gwen Stacy #1 and read through that, and it was good. I think they're doing.
I liked it. I really liked it. Was surprised that I liked it.
With not only covering Gwen Stacy and what was going on in her life, and of course, little Easter eggs in the background. She's in the library and there's Peter Parker sitting in the corner reading. So that was fun, and I even got to admit I did have a fun time playing with the paper dolls in back. They were a bitch to cut out, but wait, that means I probably should go buy another copy, right? Oh well, stores need the business. So yeah, it's going to be a fun series if you can pick. Well, whatever. We'll get 3 issues and then it'll quit. 2 at least. So enjoy what I got. Cory, what are you geeking on?
If you are looking for entertainment, oh my gosh, there is so much entertainment available. Comic publishers are putting free books online. Comic creators are putting tons of sketches and stuff online. Buzz, the artist Buzz, had a Just BuzzCon over the weekend where he set up on Facebook Live, did auctions, took questions, did live sketching. More and more artists are doing that. The Metropolitan Opera has put operas up online. WWE has created a free tier on the WWE network. Tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff is available. So if you are someone who's home, and if you're someone who's home with kids, there are lots of things available. Even 2000 AD put out a kids pack that you can download online so that your kids can color Judge Dredd. There are packets available for parents to give to kids to keep their math, science, reading skills up. I know that it's really easy to go on Facebook and see everybody complaining about what's going on and how our leadership is failing us and all the negative. The toilet paper hoarders, all of it. But I choose to look at the fact that the online community and all sorts of people are saying, hey, if you got to be home, here's how to make the best of it. I am seeing people in the neighborhoods helping out their neighbors. Going and shopping for the older neighbors they have. I ordered delivery over the weekend because I was just too exhausted to do much of anything. Did it on the app. They put it on my deck. You didn't have to interact with somebody so that everybody involved was safe. The person who delivered it was safe. I was safe. And all of this has happened.
Done that twice.
All of this has happened really quick.
Yeah, we've done that twice where we've gone to our favorite bar/restaurant, and most of them slipped into it real quick. We just give them our credit card. We drive up. They put it in the back seat. So, there's only so much we can eat out, though. But, I'll support whomever I can. And then, of course, the one that you and I have been to, Mama's, he just decided to stay closed. And he's, as far as I know, he's got everybody paid. So, again, if he opens up, I'll be there right away. So it's not just comic shops.
Yep, restaurants. A friend of mine owns a jewelry store. They're doing what they can to try and stay open. But, all small businesses are going to be struggling. There have been a couple of things that I've purchased to help out people. There's a small wrestling federation, and the owner said that, you know what, this is how I make my living because he's one of the wrestlers. So he said, I have no income coming in. Here are a set of all of the DVDs of our shows. It's like a 10 to 15 DVD set. And he's like, $200 delivered to your house. Sure, I'll pick up that. That's, what was it? I think it was like either 17 or 18 shows on DVDs for $200 so that he could pay his rent. He said, I only need 10 fans to buy this for me to pay my rent, buy food, take care of everything. He's a newlywed. He's a new dad. Cool. Buying gift cards for local businesses. And if you have friends that are out of work, guess what? You've bought a gift card. That does two things. Helps the local business, and it helps your friend who's out of work. We are all able to pull together in this. And it's wonderful that I'm seeing people do it.
I will say that some places are pulling together better, because I was talking with Turbo today, and he told me they actually are allowing bars and restaurants to, when you pick up an order for them, buy some beer, maybe a wine cooler, things like that. Now, if they can figure out a way to do that with mixed drinks, the crisis is over. Strode, you have to go home now. No more gin for you.
I have nothing to do with gin anymore. It's all bourbon.
Oh, man. Don't tell him you're out. You'll never see him again.
TV-wise, I have not had much time. Last week's AEW Dynamite was one of the best wrestling TV shows I've ever seen. It's available on demand with TNT. I don't know if it's on the TNT app, but oh, man, was it fantastic. Yes, they were in a studio, and all they had were the other wrestlers. But they had the other wrestlers watching the matches. The way they staged it, it didn't matter that there was no crowd. The other wrestlers were cheering and booing and interacting during the matches. It was not what you're used to with a wrestling show, but it worked fantastically. Much better than what the WWE is doing, which is, they're basically, WWE is still doing their regular show except without an audience. AEW changed up how they shot the show. They changed up the dynamic of the show. And they even pulled two rabbits out of their hat, which were surprising. AEW Dark is their show that's available free on YouTube. New episodes are dropping tomorrow. They're doing a 2-hour episode tomorrow because they know people are stuck at home. HBO just had a series called McMillions. Joe, do you remember the McDonald's scandal at McDonald's in the 90s?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This is a 6-part documentary that tells the whole story, interviewing all but one person involved.
And who might that one person be?
Well, the person who was the person who was stealing the winning tickets and giving them away. He wouldn't talk.
I thought maybe the guy who went undercover, maybe.
No, he talked.
Good.
It was a fantastic documentary. There is another documentary series that just dropped on Netflix called Dirty Money. The first season was unbelievably great. So I can't wait to watch a second season. Dirty Money is about people who cheat the system. The last season was about drug manufacturers who jack the prices because they can. There was one of them was a payday loan guy who was making millions and millions and millions of dollars and used it to be a NASCAR driver. And it went into how he finally got caught. Can't wait for the second season. I love that sort of thing where it's, okay, this guy's breaking the law, and this is how the feds slowly took it all apart. Kind of like
breaking the law.
Yeah. Kind of like how they caught Al Capone. Comic-wise, Marvel Unlimited broke my heart, Joe.
Uh-oh.
They added all 4 issues of the Yellow Claw, which, it's really racist, drawn by Al Feldstein and Jack Kirby in the 50s. Then after a week, they were pulled.
Oh, cowards.
Well, the good thing is I've already got the Marvel Masterwork that has all those. But as I'm reading it, it's like, oh, I know somebody's going to complain about this.
Snowflake.
No, Joe. This is almost as bad as that 40s issue of Young Allies, where I forget the black character's name, but everybody, he's scrappy, he's able to fight, he's this guy, he's this, and the black kid, and he can eat watermelon faster than anybody on the planet. It's like, oh, no, that didn't age well at all.
Let's not be subtle about it.
But then again, Marvel Unlimited, tons and tons and tons and tons of free comics to read. I also have been reading Usiri. I always mispronounce it.
Well, don't look at me for help.
Yatsura, which is the first manga story by Rumiko Takahashi, who also did One Piece and Maison Ikkoku, and let's see, what are the other ones she did? What's the one that everybody knows? Oh, Ranma 1/2. And Inuyasha. This was her first one. It's about an alien girl who comes down and falls in love with a human, and hijinks ensue. It's fantastic, and the reason I'm happy that Viz is finally reprinting it in books, they never finished printing the original series. Because that was back when Viz was still doing regular comic books, and it never sold well enough for them to keep printing it. But now that there are more people who read comics and more people who know about Rumiko Takahashi, it's able to sell. And the last thing I am geeking on, I hold in my hand the book that I am currently reading, Marvel Masters of Suspense, Volume 2. These are the stories by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko from 1961 to when they quit doing short stories in 1965. The stories themselves are all pretty cliche, twist ending stories. There's nothing new here, but you get Steve Ditko's art. The first one was all the Steve Ditko short stories, so it showed him really early in his career, where his art, he was still drawing like other people. By this point, Amazing Spider-Man was going. So Ditko had kind of mastered what he wanted to do with comics art. These are just fantastically drawn stories. It's almost a graduate level course in how to tell a story with comics. I cannot say enough good stuff about Steve Ditko's art at early Marvel. And once I'm done with this, I'm going to read that Doctor Strange omnibus that has his entire Doctor Strange run in it. But, just diving into this stuff, I couldn't be happier. Believe it or not, kids, you've listened to us blather on about funny books for an hour and a half.
We've become crazy.
And, as we say every week, the comic we like the least, we still like better than the comic that you like the most. And you can go to your comic shop and buy the stuff that you've been putting off. Or grab everything out of your pull bin. Do it now. Do it now. They need you. Joe?
I went to the bathroom at a restaurant. I washed my hands, opened the door with my elbow. I raised the toilet seat with my foot. I switched on the water faucet with a tissue, opened the bathroom door with it to leave, used my elbow. And when I returned to my table, I realized I forgot to pull up my pants. Pants are overrated. Instead of listening to my music, go to sbs.com.au or Google Patrick Stewart reading sonnets. And trust me, you will love his soothing video. Perfect for troubled times. So go listen to Sir Patrick Stewart.
As you were talking about bathrooms, I have a problem when I go to the bathroom at like restaurants and stuff.
I know. Just staying floating above the seat so you don't make contact, very difficult.
No, it's when I go in there, it says employees must wash hands before returning. Wait there for hours and no employee comes in to wash my hands. Hit my music.